Welcome to the Second Press podcast, a wine-ish podcast hosted by Brad Horn and Dan Kirby.
One producer I absolutely love, Vincent Cahier. I love his wine. And I just say, if I buy a nectar, would you bag a wine with me? He said yes.
Hi, Dan. How are you, mate?
Hello, mate. Yeah, all good. All good.
Great to see you. You've been super busy, so have I. Busy week.
Yeah. We've both been quite busy. And then we've got a bumper week on the show as well.
Yes, we have. 2 interviews this week, guys. So don't go anywhere after the first one finishes. We've got a great interview at the end as well. So listen out for that. But before that...
Trade news, yeah. So Wine Industry Digest, what's the first piece of news?
Thanks to the guys there at Wine Industry Digest. The first one is bibendum and Matthew Clark merger.
Oh, yeah.
This was on the cards for a little while, I think, mate. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I think C&C, who own them both, have kind of I think if you'd been buying from one, you could probably get hold of the wines from the other for a while. But now they've officially sort of merged them together as Matthew Clark Bibendum Wine Company. And so it's interesting. There's lots of consolidation going on at the moment. There's Majestic, they own Vagabond, but they've also bought Anotria. So we've seen it before, consolidation and then fragmentation. So it's not unusual in the UK wine landscape for businesses to merge, but it is the big guys merging.
Yeah, it is interesting. But at least they're not going under. At least they're consolidating. At least people are keeping their jobs. It's a great industry. Let's try and keep the jobs. Yeah.
And it is the end of a long process. But yeah, they're two of the big guys merging, but still at least they're doing well. They supply a lot of people with a lot of wine.
Awesome. And next one is from Harper's. It's talking about winegb. You want to get indies involved in English Wine Week. Obviously, you're a great champion of indie producers, indie labels. So, and obviously winegb, you're another great producer from the wine industry. So them two coming together, it's probably close to your heart, mate.
Big companies like Matthew Clark and Bibendum that just merged, they're doing the obvious people like Chappelldown and the big guys, whereas indies have got a really good way of supporting some of the cooler, smaller, interesting wine producers. So, there's an English winery for every wine merchant. And I think it's really interesting that Harper's are getting behind independents. Yeah.
I love that line. There's an English wine for every independent wine merchant. Wherever you are in the country, there'll be a producer, small or medium to big, around you. You can try their wines, buy their wines, champion their wines. And I really love as well that London Wine Fair host sort of stand winegb. I think really, really excited for this week at the fair and what it's going to bring.
Massive presence at the London Wine Fair this week. So it's Monday, first day of the London Wine Fair today, if you're listening. And then, I'll be there on Tuesday, Wednesday. Brad, you'll be there a couple of days. Yeah, I think it's going to be a real fun few days, actually. I know a lot of the good English producers are going to be there. So I'll be trying to catch up and taste quite a few wines this week.
And last bit of news as well, mate, from the buyer, Taittinger. Their 2026 World Cup champagne is launched. They've been promoting the World Cup for the last few years through this article. I was a big sports fan, so wanted to get something about the World Cup in. It's only just under a month away.
It's a fun one, that, isn't it? We spoke about it maybe on episode 1 a little while ago, Night Timber getting involved with the rugby.
Yeah.
I think it's just a sign of the times that the podcast is already influencing people like Taittinger to sponsor the World Cup, mate.
Love it. And I'm going to see if I can get some of this wine next week, because I know Taittinger will be at the London Wine Fair. I'm going to see if I can get some of this or a bottle of it so we can show you guys what it tastes like, what it looks like. The article's quite fun as well. Jeffrey Dean from the buyer. Really good job.
Nice. Good stuff. Shall we get on with interview number 1?
Let's go. Christelle.
Here we go.
Hi guys. Hi, Christelle Guibert to the Second Press podcast. Thanks so much for joining us.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
And it's the first time you've met Dan, which is great.
Yes, and I love your backdrop, actually. I forgot to mention earlier, Dan. So I guess you're into music.
Yeah, when we had Jamie Good on the podcast, we spent the last 10 minutes of the podcast just talking about guitars. Behind me on the wall here, this thing here, this is an ancient wooden accordion. And so like it does make a noise, but it's like made of paper and wood as an accordion.
Dan, we're here to talk to Christelle, not about your accordion, mate.
But also, can I just mention, I love the colour of the wall as well.
This is a podcast, guys. We can't talk about walls and things behind you.
Sorry.
I love it. Great start. So, Christelle, talk about your start into wine, your journey into wine. You've been in the trade for 25 years now. So, when did it all start? Sorry to say that.
Yes, remind me of my age. I've been in the wine trade forever, basically. I've always worked in the wine industry. I studied wine in France. And then I came to England and I always had jobs in wine. Started in a private club, members club. Boodles Club was my first job, where I met Stephen Spurrier, who became for me a great mentor. And then I had a job at Harrods in the wine department, and a couple of importers, worked at Waitrose as well in the buying team. And then decanter, I was there for 17 years, quite a long time.
17 years. So that's 17 years.
Yeah.
What did you do at decanter, if no one knows? And actually, I didn't know you worked at Boodles. I didn't know you worked at the Waitrose and Harrods. So actually, this is all new to me as well. I'm learning today, which is great.
I worked. So I joined decanter as a testing coordinator. So that was in 2000. I think they just did a market research among their readers. And it's when the website, the boom of the website as well was happening, and they was just launching decanter.com. And they did a survey, and they realized quite a lot of their readers, actually what they wanted from the magazine was wine recommendation. And before the magazine, they didn't have a lot of wine recommendations, a very small section. So they decided to create a testing department. And and purely as I met someone who worked there and introduced me. And next I was joining decanter as a testing coordinator. And so I started there, just set up the testing department of decanter. And 17 years later, I've been testing director, and I basically developed all the testing section of the magazine, all the wine recommendation for the mag, and then we also launched the Decanter Awards, Decanter Asia Wine Awards, and then also involved with the events. And so it became a much bigger brand, as from when I started. And this was an amazing experience, and I met so many amazing people. And Stephen Spurrier was obviously again back at Decanter, and I had some great mentors. It was for me the most amazing experience. I met so many great people, and I was young. It was a great opportunity to be given, to have access to all those great journalists and writers and experts and producers.
And actually, on that, like what you made from decanter, from where it was then to when you left, like it was a huge change, and the magazine change, and the judging change, and actually going out to Asia as well and doing that awards, that would have been really scary because you obviously didn't know the market as well, you don't know what you're doing. But even that now, like kudos to you and obviously the team. But anyone I speak to, they always say what Christelle did there was incredible.
Yes, it was great. But, I was lucky that the managing director at the time, Sarah Camp, really trusted me and gave me a lot of, freedom and to follow my instinct. And I think we had similar way of working. And so I was lucky to have great people around me who really trusted me and my instinct. I work really hard, and I don't do anything halfway. So when I commit myself to something, I just do 100%. So I think a lot of people have trusted me. And so that's how, I managed to develop all the testing, improve a lot of the testings, and, from the monthly magazine, but also all the, Decanter Awards, obviously, which was a big part of the role. It was an amazing experience.
Really, that is what the magazine is for me now. All these tastings, when you see these tasting scores and these panel tastings and things, when you see those things, obviously those are the things you created, and that's what that's what Decanter's all about now. So well done to you. And me and Dan before were talking about that.
Thank you. No, it was good. And, I've always been really obsessed with blind testing. And since my when I started at Decanter, I started to actually doing a lot of experiments on judges. Sometimes they knew, sometimes they didn't know. And
Is that when you used to pick them? If they got it right, you were like, yes, you're in.
yeah, so I used to do things like, and so often they didn't know, but I used to put the same wine in a flight just to really see if they scored the same. So I used to do a lot of things like that. And sometimes I did some experiments, which obviously they all knew what it's all about, and sometimes I didn't. But I was always curious to really learn more about, because we all know blind testing or any testing is subjective. And so I was always really curious to understand that. And I was quite lucky when I then moved to the iwsc. I got in touch with Will. I don't know if you know Will Lowe. He's an MW.
Yeah, I know Will. Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah, he's great. And he contacted me, and he wanted to do, as part of his dissertation PhD, he wanted to spend time analyzing all our judges and scores at the iwsc. So I was like, oh my gosh, amazing. Because he's so, academic and very analytical. And so it's like, wow, I can have someone who can actually help me to refine all our judging process. So we have been working with him for all our judging sessions just for wine, analyzing all the judges, and we still have another 18 months of work before he can actually publish the full results of our judging session. And he's already shared a lot.
Well, after this, Christelle, don't tell me now, but you can tell me how bad or good I was.
Well, I haven't shared anything yet, because obviously it's all under, it was Will. Yeah. But, in 18 months, we'll be able to share everything. So I'll let you know.
Oh, dear.
Are you making changes to things as you go, or will you look to implement some changes once all of the data's been done?
Well, I say ideally is when all the data has been done. But so far, actually, there's a couple of things probably will help us to balance the panel a little bit better. But so far, I think it's just what is done and what's the result has just given us, reinsurance that actually what we're doing is the right thing. I spent so long with a decanter, with judges, see their behavior and realize what worked, what didn't work. I realized at decanter when I was there, we were giving too many wines to each judge. And that's one thing when I came to the iwsc, so, okay, we need to reduce now the number of wine per panel per judge, because it's just too much. So, so there's already a lot of instinct. I could tell by the judge's behavior. And so it was reassuring to see we're going in the right direction, everything we've done in the iwsc. And it's been a really fun project to work with Will on this. So,
well, you obviously, we've mentioned the iwsc and that move to the iwsc and Club O and the whole umbrella there, because a lot of people said before you came, it was not where it should be and not should be the awards that it should be. But now it's sort of up there again, one of the prestigious awards of the world.
Yeah, well, thank you. So basically, so I was excited to when they approached me, say, could you help us? The spirit is the strongest part of the iwsc is a well-known spirits brand. And I said, well, fine, I can help you with the wine side. And so I spent the first few months just really watching, listening, and seeing what wasn't working, and then after that, I just implemented what I learned from basically my previous experience working in awards environment and talking to judges. At the end of the day, it's always about talking to all the judges and get their feedback. And it was good. The team, some of the team was on board, and we totally. And actually, COVID was a really good time for me because. He gave me a good break from the old iwsc. So it was a perfect year we've got to change everything. COVID was a good excuse for a lot of changes I made. Because obviously we had to renew all of our judges and reposition on the brand, repositioning what was the purpose of the iwsc. So we did all of this work during COVID in 2021 now.
And then that as well probably led to the global judging program, because they take a lot of work and coordination and for these scales of judging. How do you go about doing that somewhere else? And who come up with that idea?
Yes, it's a client. So we work with quite a long time with Conegliano Valdiviadini Prosecco.
Yeah, great pronunciation as well. Well done. That's a tough one. That.
Thank you. And they've always challenged me, and they wanted to say, can we engage more with the judges? So I said, well, actually, the best way to engage more is actually to do the judging in the region. And they just love the idea. And so that's how we started. We did our first one with them, and it was a real success. And now we do about 10 a year, and we travel the world. And it's the actual judging is the same as in London, but actually the judging is only about 50% of the actual program. And where we're really trying to do is obviously bring the judges to the country or the region. And we do our iwsc judging in the morning, but in the afternoon we organize visits, workshop, discussion, connection with producers. And quite a lot of our partners often wants to do some really good workshop about understanding the UK market better. So we do this exchange with producers where the judges often give back to the producers of what's happening in the UK, trends and things like that. It's a real exchange of knowledge, and it's amazing to see, to experience that.
And that probably helps both parties, because obviously a lot of your judges are buyers and people at the forefront of the UK trade. So actually having them on site is almost like a press trip, but they're getting their wines judged and some feedback. So actually you've literally pigeonholed this really well.
Yeah, and I think that's why it's working, because it's not just the judging.
No.
It's actually, we are creating a really good program a week where they really hear from them what's it's happening in UK. Really do a really good program of activities. We always ask the buyers what they want to learn from that country or region. So it's an exchange, basically. Yeah, they're very successful, but they're fun. I mean, the most important, they're also fun.
And on to now, because obviously you're still at the iwsc doing these global judging, but you've taken a step back as well to start something new. So talk to us about that, the UK Sommelier of the Year and Trade Hospitality.
Yeah, so I 2 years ago, UK Sommelier of the Year. I don't know if you're familiar with this event. It's an event who's been, I think, Brad, I've invited you before to attend the event, but it's an event where we award the best UK Sommelier of the Year. And it's associated with a French company called Association de Sommellerie Internationale, where they award the world best sommelier. So we basically do the selection for UK. So we award the best UK sommelier, who then go on to compete to the next level. And so 2 years ago, the business was up for sale. The caterer used to own it, and so they approached me and said, "Would you like to? Are you interested?" And at the time, I said yes, but I bought it as a iwsc, and as an event for me, I find so rewarding to do. So the last 2 years, I ran it as the iwsc, but I ran it on my own weekends because I love the hospitality. When I first moved to this country, is the people from the hospitality who welcome me. I made a lot of connection there, so I have a close relationship with the hospitality. And I just wanted to support them. We all know how hard the hospitality is. They don't get a lot of support, long hours, and they want more mentorship as well. So I just wanted to really do something really good for this event and raise awareness and give them a space for them to meet their peers, to meet their mentors. So I put 100% into it for the last 2 years, and I loved it. And I just suddenly say, you know what, I want to do more on this event. So I basically went back to iwsc and say, I want to buy it. So last year I managed to buy it back, and at the same time I bought Trade Hospitality, which was owned by Gareth Devaney and Xavier Rousset, so two sommeliers who set it up during COVID time as a platform for the hospitality. And I just felt actually it works well. Xavier and Gareth said, well, can you take it off our hands as well, because you'll be a better person to run it. So I bought the two businesses last year, as of end of last year. And as a result, I had to step down as a CEO because I just couldn't do
Even you couldn't do it. You juggle so many things. Even you, bless you.
I couldn't. And now I spend half of my time with the global judging program, which is something I love doing, and I can see an amazing opportunity. It's growing. We get a lot of demand, and half of my other time is developing the UK Sommelier of the Year and Trade Hospitality.
And when is the UK Sommelier of the Year? When can we find it? Come along and
7th of July. I will both send you the invite. You should come along. It's an amazing event just to see. It's an exam, so it's a 2-day event, but the final on the 7th is in front of a live audience. So we've got about 150 people from the hospitality who comes and watch the 3 finalists on stage doing through their exam.
That sounds like the most I haven't done anything sommelier-wise, but that sounds like horribly nerve-wracking. Like all the exams I've done have been like closed book. You sit and just write the answers down or you taste the wines. But doing like judging live in front of hundreds of people,
I know.
I just don't know how anyone puts themselves through that.
It's hard, but they're amazing, and they are in a restaurant setting. So we create a restaurant setting on stage, and they have many different tasks to do, and they really put to the challenge. But yeah, it's a really special event.
One of us are going to try and get along today, if not both of us. It sounds like awesome fun.
And it's a great fun event as well. There's a lot of celebration and a lot of wine, lots of wine.
Did Alexandre win it one year? Alexandre Frégoin? I think we're trying to get Alexandre to come on the show.
Oh, you should.
Very good segue there, Dan. Very good, mate. Very, very.
You should get him. He's great. He's so great. Yeah.
But also, you make wine as well.
Yeah.
You're from the Loire, so you make wine in the Loire. Just another thing you do as well. So when did that all start as well? Like, I'm racking my brain all this time.
I know. In 2013, when I was still at Decanter, I went to Muscadet to write an article and also do a feature on Muscadet and some recommendation. It's where I'm from. I'm from the area, but I wasn't very close to the producers, and I just, after a week spending there, I just was impressed by some of the producers, the quality of the wine. How hard they were working and trying to change the vision of Muscadet. It was very much before just oysters, cheap wine, volume, and there was a handful of producers, like a dozen, I would say, who was making really fine wine. And so I just came back totally like, this is an amazing region, and the land was so cheap because nobody was buying. Everybody was kind of moving away from Muscadet. So I just, one producer I absolutely love, Vincent Cahier. I love his wine. It wasn't exported, his wine. And I just say, if I buy a nectar, would you bag a wine with me? He said yes.
That helps. That always helps to have a winemaker on your side.
Yeah, and even better, he actually helped me to buy the vineyard because obviously, he knows the area. He knows.
Yeah.
So we started a partnership together. So I bought 1 hectare. And an egg, and a concrete egg. And we started making the wine in 2014.
Can you get hold of the wine, or is it just for you only?
I do drink a lot, but 2,000 bottles. No, I sell it. It's sold globally, but a big chunk is sold in UK, but through mostly restaurants, high-end restaurants and independent wine merchant. And otherwise export. And but it's been tough. It hasn't been an easy journey, because especially lately with low frost and challenges like other producers we're experiencing. So it's not an easy. It certainly reminded me that maybe not to give up my full-time job.
Have you entered the wine into any competitions?
No.
I love this. No. We're going to divert outside of wine now for a bit. What do you get up to? I know you do so much in wine and around wine. You said you're working at the weekends about wine. So but what do you do when you're not thinking about wine?
Gosh, good question. Well, I drink wine when I'm not thinking about wine. Well, to be fair, my life is very much around, the wine and but food as well. We absolutely love food. Chris, my other half, is also a real foodie. and wine as well. Doesn't work in the wine industry, but love wine. That's how we met. And we love trying new restaurants. We love traveling to, for short weekends just to try new restaurants. So wine is very much wine and food, and gastronomy is very much part of it's our hobby, basically. We don't have children, so that's what, an easy, like spontaneous go away for a weekend to Paris or to, I don't know, anywhere to just enjoy, food, some nice food and some nice wine. Imagine not having a dinner at home without a bottle of wine to go with, the food. So, I'm French as well, so that's where we brought up,
Wine everywhere. Wine with everything.
Wine everywhere. But no, otherwise I love... we live in London, but we love, going to the countryside, going for some nice walk in the hill, reading a bit of downtime, reading by the fireplace with a glass of wine.
It's got to be wine. I love it. Wine.
Yeah, it's got to be wine.
Okay. On that note, my last question is, your last glass of wine you could ever have, what would it be?
Oh my gosh. Can it be... Well, I think can it be a bottle?
A bottle. You can have a bottle.
Bottle of wine. Yeah, fine.
I think it'll have to be champagne for me, because I find champagne very versatile. I think it goes amazingly with food. And I do think a lot of people just see champagne as just an aperitif, but I do think, gastronomy style of champagne. So I would go for champagne more for the diversity of going around, food and as well on its own. But I think if I had to name one, I'll probably go with a producer called Agrapar, which is, I don't know if you know, is a small...
Amazing.
But, and it'll have to be a mineral, which is my favorite cuvée that he does. And they age amazingly well. And because I'm such a fan of his wine, I have a cellar of probably a large vertical of all mineral. And over the weekend, we had 2010, which was drinking beautifully. So that'll probably be, a slightly older vintage of mineral.
We didn't get the invite, Dan.
Yeah, we didn't get the invite to that one.
Well, next one. Yeah,
we'll hold you to that, Christelle. We'll hold you to that. That me and Dan are bringing something good as well, but we'll hold you to that.
Hard to compete with Agrapar.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm trying to think, mate. What could I bring? Christelle, thank you so much for your time. It's great to see you. I've known you a little while, and I just want to give you a big shout out, because I don't think I'll be here if it wasn't the iwsc giving me a nomination for Emerging Wine Communicator of the Year during COVID, and it really put me on a different platform. So thank you so much.
Oh, pleasure. No, pleasure. It's great. No, always great to working with you, Brad. And nice meeting you, Dan.
Yeah, cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Bye. Really love that from Christelle. Obviously, I know her a long time. Really, really champion of the UK wine industry and changed the judging landscape as well through decanter and the iwsc.
God, yeah, and she sounds just like so busy with so many projects going on. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and obviously a great segue for the UK sommelier of the year. We've got Alex Rogue, the ambassador for AOP Picpoul de Pinet, to talk to us about this region.
Great, let's go.
So welcome, Alexandre, the AOC Picpoul de Pinet ambassador. Thanks so much for joining us.
No, that's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So we're here to talk to you, Alex, about your role and what is Picpoul de Pinet to people that don't know.
Well, it's a role which is very interesting, because we see a lot of ambassador, like brand ambassador, which are representing a domain. But in this case, the role is not more tricky, but with a lot of dynamic, because it's representing a region. And it's being capable to deliver the word of the quality of the wine, the landscape, what's the goal, what they expect, which is great. And it's a very dynamic appellation, pretty straightforward to understand also. The appellation is basically one grade, the Picpoul Blanc, one style, dry white wine, and 6 villages which are just facing the sea. So everything sounds wonderful for holidays.
It does. And the wine's really great for that. And if people don't know where it is, you're in the south of France, in the Languedoc sort of bigger region. So if people don't know where it is, please paint a picture for us.
That's super, super simple. Actually, that's the only white wine dedicated appellation of the entire Languedoc. And basically, in the UK, you can fly to Montpellier, to Béziers. It's by the Mediterranean Sea, and it will be between, let's say, the south of Montpellier, 25 minutes, and the wonderful village of Sète, and a place called the Étang de Thau, that is basically the entrance of the Mediterranean.
Wow, Dan, can we go now, mate?
Yeah, I want to hop straight on a plane, please.
Yeah, that's actually the flights are pretty convenient up there.
I love it. But also, the UK is a quite important market for picpoul de pinet, because obviously a lot of it is exported to the UK, and we've got a fondness for the grape and the wine itself.
Yeah, I mean that's a love story between picpoul de pinet and the UK consumer in general. I mean, I spent 8 years running floors in Michelin star restaurants in the UK, and I never had a single wine list without a picpoul de pinet. I mean, it will be a suicide not to have a picpoul de pinet.
Maybe that's why they picked you as the ambassador.
Yes, a little bit on that. But actually, funny enough, I've always been studying. I competed and won UK Sommelier of the Year in the UK. And all of this, I always kept away studying picpoul de pinet because I was sure I knew what it was, until I had a deep inside lunch on site there. And then I realized how much diversity you can have in style, in people. People are very, very important. There is a very strong collective there. And also how actual is the style of wine. Because if we look at fresh, bright, lively, sea influence, and with a little bit of lift, but also at the same time, very understandable style of wine, I think they are fitting very well into what the consumer are expecting now. I mean, we need complex wine, but we also need just pleasurable and everyday, I would say, simple, enjoyable wine. And I think picpoul de pinet can take this. So.
Absolutely. It's been lovely weather in the UK this week, so I'm actually, all I want is a glass of picpoul right now.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Actually, the event is called Picpoul All Day, which for me sounds very, very good. You guys actually will be the first one that I talk to you directly, so it's quite nice.
Alex, that's a great segue. That's what we're here to talk about. You've got an event coming up. How can people get involved and register to attend?
Thanks for asking. I'll give you a bit of the program, which is going to be a really, really a lot of highlights. So trade tasting, simple, straightforward, over 50 wines, 10 producers are flying over to talk about what they do on a daily basis. Also, what's next in the appellation, because we have a great 2025 vintage. We have an appellation which is striking into a universe now where we talk a lot about climate change, but we are Mediterranean-infused DNA style of wine, which co-ops so well with what's going on at the moment in terms of climate. Also, some quite new things to be introduced because we managed to release our lightweight bottle, dropping 22% of the weight of the bottle. And it's not actually a private bottling, but it's a syndicate bottling, which means that we kept all the DNA of the Neptune bottle with a little bit more modernity also. Then, trade tasting, talking about this. 11, I'm going to be showcasing a masterclass with what's picpoul de pinet now and what will be picpoul de pinet in the next 10 years. We will be showcasing more than 8 wines just for the masterclass. I'll be co-hosting with a very close friend of mine that we're going to reveal very soon. Then we like a little bit of a crunch, and I've called it the salty crunch. I'm going to bring one of my chefs from France, and Bert Blaise. We just opened a lovely restaurant this week in Norfolk. He's going to bring his chef, and we're going to be fighting each other in a chef and some competition, France versus England.
Chef off. Chef and some off. I love that.
So we're going to fight each other a bit.
Fight with bottles, guys, not with gloves. Okay?
No, we don't have the physique to fight anyway. I can tell you that.
So, Alex, will there be plenty of oysters at the picpoul tasting?
I want to say something which makes really sense to me, but when wine can just picture a sense of a place, you see the Étang de Thau, so you have a sea view. It's pretty much all the time sunny. And what you've got there, it's like one of the greatest oysters in the world. And if you have sea, sun, wine, oysters, that's the definition of picpoul de pinet, but also the definition of holidays. If we are lucky, we're going to bring the sun with us, and we can have a sort of like in between, as I said, postcard brought to England. So also, I have to say, it's building a bridge between long-term lovers of picpoul de pinet and at the same time new consumer of picpoul de pinet. So I like the idea of having the new generation of buyers and also the ones that were already into picpoul de pinet. So that shows that there is a great dynamic into the AOP.
Alex, I am so excited. Dan, can't wait for this event. I really can't. I can't wait for an oyster, glass of picpoul, and then watching you and Bert go at it, trying to find the best pairing for these wines.
I'll be there. That's looking like such a fun event. See you in June.
Can't wait.
See you in June, and in the meantime, drink picpoul de pinet every day, please. Bye-bye.
That was a fun chat with Alexandre. He's a really good guy. And talking about a region, obviously, you can see he really, really cares about and loves.
Yeah, I think he's exactly the right person to be the brand ambassador for AOP Picpoul, isn't he?
Absolutely.
Like, he's just exactly the right guy. And also friend of the show, because he's got a podcast with Anna Spooner, who's been on a guest before as well. It was really nice to have him on.
Yeah, nice bit of synergy there.
Yeah, lovely stuff.
Awesome. Also, the event coming up Monday, the 8th of June. Check in the bio. We can sign up. It's trade only, I'm afraid, guys. So only people from the trade can come along. Me and Dan will be there. Try and pick oysters, a chef off, which I'm really looking forward to.
I'm really looking forward to that chef off, because Bert Blaze, who's the English contingent, and so he's up near me in the middle of wilds of Norwich and North Norfolk. So I'm quite looking forward to going to that event. That's going to be a good one on Monday, the 8th of June. Yeah.
What else have you been up to, mate?
I've been sort of busy at the winery, busy with work. The most interesting thing I've been done this week is we had a big sparkly wine tasting in Norwich with Jacob and Zoe from Black Chalk were there showing off their new cuvées and their new base wines and stuff. So that was a good thing to sort of hang out with those guys and taste some wine for people in Norwich for a little while. And then in other news, I've been to go and see the band of the moment, mate. The Angers de Poterie and the French-Canadian math rock weirdos. If you're into music and you own a guitar, you probably heard about them. I absolutely adore them. It was an electric ballroom in Camden, and it was an absolutely bonkers gig. So I love that. That was basically the highlight of my last couple of weeks.
You said French Canadian. That's a good segue for me, mate. I was at the Canadian Embassy trying some Pinot Chards, cool climate wines, wonderful ice wines as well. It's getting a little bit harder to make ice wines there with climate change, but these wines are absolutely incredible. And sort of like a similar style to the UK industry in their styles of reds and whites, and really, really exciting. Nice people. Always nice to go to an embassy.
It must have been fun. Yeah, Canada's an interesting country for wine. Quite small production compared to how massive the place is.
Yeah. And on the other side of the scale, I went to Luan de Cuyo in Argentina, just outside Mendoza. They had a tasting with Tim Atkin and producers. Absolutely fantastic tasting. Bit geeky at times, but really, really, I got a sense of what makes this place and why Melbeck sort of grew from there. Stunning wines.
You love a geeky tasting, though. You love a geeky tasting.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a geek sometimes. Maybe you like a geeky tasting.
Sorry, but you said it was the first AOC?
First AOC in the Americas.
That's quite a handle, isn't it? Quite an exciting thing.
Yeah. We also had some comments, mate. Before we let everyone go, sorry, we had some comments on the Substack.
Couple more comments.
So I'm going to give a Substack shout out to Wendy, who's asked, Ipswich are doing all right. Team for Dan? I said, and I answered, we will discuss this over the summer. So as I said, I need some more feedback.
We need some more suggestions.
We need more suggestions, and we'll put a poll up. Who should Dan support?
Can I let you into a secret on that one?
Yeah.
Wendy's my mum.
Wendy, we love you. I didn't know you were Dan's mum. Wendy, you're now my. I'm a fan of yours. Hopefully, you like his co-host better than your son.
Maybe. It's not
hard. Guys, as we said, it's the London Wine Fair this week. Please come and say hi to us. Me and Dan are there most of the week. Come to the Flint stand. Come and see me doing my bits and pieces. It'll be on socials. We'll get a bit through the second press stuff as well.
Yeah, cool. Well, other than that, we'll see you next time.
See you next time, guys.
Bye.